The Savage Wars is a trilogy of books that are in the Galaxy's Edge series by Nick Cole and Jason Anspach. Today in this video, I am going to talk about player Crometheus. He is a character in the Savage Wars Trilogy and also in the other Galaxy's Edge books. He is shown on the cover of Gods and Legionnaires, the second book in the Savage Wars Trilogy. Like all savages, Crometheus was originally human and his name was Billy. Billy is from Viejo Verde and the arcade is from Billy's youth. If you don't already know, the arcade was the greatest place ever invented if you were a kid. You could go there and get lost in the machines. Each machine had a different game than all the others. Some of the more popular machines had crowds of people around them to watch the really good players play. Billy lived in the arcade, and him and his friends went to the arcade every chance they could get. Eventually, Billy gets older and moves away, ever seeking more fame. He discovers more of this on the stage, the greatest stage of all. Billy takes the stage name Billy Bang. Greatest rock star on the entire planet. He tours and plays all the major places. He is a rock god. He's not denied anything he could ever want. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, the whole bit. Mr. Roman grows up idolizing Billy Bang. He himself does not become a rock star, but a tech billionaire, and has more money than he knows what to do with. Years pass. Billy gets older and is not quite as famous as he used to be. Not quite able to pull in the crowds like he used to. All the debauchery is catching up to him. All the mistakes he's made. After all, he is only human. At this point, Mars has been colonized but is not getting along with Earth. It is not the utopia it was promised to be. However, Roman and others like him have a solution. A permanent solution. Technology exists to make it possible to build gigantic starships. Colony ships. Larger than anything ever imagined before. These ships cannot fly faster than light, but that doesn't matter. They are large enough to live an entire lifetime on and never miss out on anything. Everything you could possibly get on Earth is available on these ships. Each ship, which are also known as light huggers, are as unique and different as the people who inhabit them. Each light hugger is a kingdom unto itself, with its own king. Nobody wants to remain on Earth anymore. Why stay on boring, old, dying Earth when you can explore the galaxy on a light hugger? Roman has his own ship at this time and remembers Billy Bang from his youth. Yes, I know who Mr. Roman is. Everyone does, and that he has big plans. But what does he want with me? Would you like to take a trip on his ship and leave Earth behind? Leave your past behind? I know it sounds crazy, but staying here on this dying rock is crazier. Hear me out, Billy. He's offering you the trip of a lifetime. Or lifetimes. What do you mean, lifetimes? Billy, I'm 72 years old. What? You don't look a day over 30. Exactly. And Mr. Roman is confident he's found the secret, and it is within reach to extend that to infinity. Really? And how much is a ticket for something like that? For you and you alone, Billy, the price is Hollywood. Hollywood is a reporter. Real name is Tina Rivers. She is a reporter for a major news outlet and is digging up dirt on Roman. Roman's goal is to finish building his light hugger to leave Earth forever, and he will not be able to accomplish this if Hollywood is able to get her story out. Billy Bang accepts the offer. Roman's assistant gives Billy everything he needs to get the job done. So, Billy then goes and hires some thugs and sets it up. Even though Billy went to jail for a minor thing, he isn't about to commit murder, even if he can escape the punishment by getting away on Mr. Roman's ship. It was easy enough to set up the meet with Tina. She had been wanting to do a story on Billy Bang for a while anyway. And when Billy Bang offers Hollywood the story of a lifetime, how can she resist? So Billy takes her out into the desert. But instead of killing her and burying the body, he actually has her kidnapped and kept away from any contact with the outside world for 18 months. Which is more than enough time for Billy to leave with Mr. Roman and be gone. Billy Bang boards Roman's light hugger and leaves Earth forever. Centuries pass. Back on dying Earth, humanity discovers faster than light travel, hyperspeed, and colonizes the galaxy. Hispania stretches along the Cerusian frontier. Then, Vesper Confederacy, the Rigel Assembly, Britannia, and the old United Worlds, which all of them together make up the Republic. The age of humanity colonizing the galaxy is going very well, until the first of the savages show up and wipes out a planet. Who are these savages? These uplifted? Remember the light huggers? Centuries of uncontrolled experiments, dark science, voodoo, sorcery, and anything else humanity can come up with, unhindered by earthly things like ethics or morals. With no limits, these once humans became savage. And for a while, the small human settlements on planets would temporarily form military alliances and were able to destroy or drive away these savages, because the savages not only viewed humanity, the animals, their less evolved brethren, as the enemy, but also other savages. So individually, even though the light huggers were incredibly vast, against a more determined enemy, against someone with a planet they can fly back down to after a few skirmishes, when all the savages have are their one ship, they were driven off. But what happened to Billy Bang? At some point on the journey, Roman finds out Billy Bang only silenced Hollywood temporarily, and the only thing worse than lying to Roman is not doing what he wants. Billy's punishment was to be banished from Roman's side, his fall from grace, to be now known as Prometheus. He is now a Savage Marine. Savage Marines are reduced to brains only. They had human bodies at one point, but the technology was developed to be able to remove their brains from their bodies, put them into cyborg bodies, and throw them at the enemy. Able to rise again and again, unkillable unless their brains are destroyed, they are under the control of Maestro. Maestro is an AI, and it controls everything and everyone, even down to individual thoughts. Maestro tells all the Savage Marines how to think, and which are the best thoughts that lead one along the path. The path leads to enlightenment and godhood. Roman's conquest is undeniable. He is charismatic and absolute, shows no mercy, and allies all the savages into one group, the Grand Uplifted Alliance. The Republic, noticing for the first time that the savages were not just going away this time, that it looked like they wanted to stay on a planet named New Vega, finally decided against suing for peace with the savages and formed an ad hoc military named the Coalition and sent this temporary alliance to war. Like the cannon fodder they were, Prometheus and the other Savage Marines are sent to defeat the Coalition on New Vega and send humanity back. This time, the savages were going to finally cease their endless space voyage and call this planet their own. During this first battle for New Vega, the Coalition is completely defeated, on land and in the air above the planet. Prometheus himself is that close to killing Tyrus Rex. I will do a future video on Tyrus Rex. Tyrus Rex barely escapes and leaves with the remaining survivors of the Coalition force, and they limp back home. Sometimes Prometheus interfaces with reality through the arcade from his past. His memories. He will be standing in front of a machine in the arcade in his mind. But in reality, he could be remotely controlling a lesser Savage Marine, or even an alien, who has been altered by the Uplifted. Either way, him and his friends compete for big prizes, achievement points, and the high score. So during the whole first battle for New Vega, for example, in Prometheus' mind, he's standing in front of an arcade machine playing a game. Humanity, or the animals as the savages refer to them, attempt a counterattack. This is where Prometheus really stands out. The Uplifted, known as the Id, helped out the Pantheon, of which Prometheus is a part, at the first battle of New Vega. So now the Pantheon is going to assist the Id at New Britannia, in the space above the planet against the human counterattack. One of the differences with this battle, though, compared to the previous one, is that maybe because the Uplifted are low on resources, or maybe it's because they just got done with a previous battle and haven't had time to restock their supply of cannon fodder, instead of playing as different Savage Marines on a machine in the arcade, Prometheus is himself participating in the battle. Under the control of Maestro, his vision is filtered. He is shown only what he needs to see, or wants to see, or what Maestro wants him to see, like his kill count and the high score. It is still like playing a game to him, like playing an arcade machine, but he is doing it himself instead of on a machine in the arcade. When he participates in a battle in this way, there is a chance Prometheus could die. If his brain is destroyed, he will cease to function, but that also means the greater the risk, the greater the reward. There is a rumor of being uploaded before death. If an Uplifted's consciousness can be uploaded before their physical death, before their brain ceases to function, they can be re-downloaded later. They do not experience permanent death as long as there is that copy of themselves out there somewhere. Maybe. So far, Prometheus hasn't had to test that theory. This battle above New Britannia is a ship-to-ship engagement. Prometheus is on a raiding party and is given several objectives. One of them being a selfie inside the pit, or primary intel targeting and termination of the carrier Fury. When Prometheus battles his way through the carrier and accomplishes this objective, it causes several things to happen. On one hand, Prometheus gets 100,000 achievement, which is unheard of in a single battle by a single Savage Marine, even one upgraded like him, and not die in the process. On the other hand, inside of the pit, he loses his connection with Maestro. For the first time since becoming a Savage Marine, Prometheus hears nothing. No Maestro, no connection with the other savages, just silent. Maestro has helped Prometheus forget his past. to become a good Savage Marine and advance along the path, but it isn't perfect. Memories keep popping up, like what happened in the desert, and names like Hollywood. Only constant connection with Maestro keeps the bad memories suppressed and the good memories going. So when Prometheus loses his connection with Maestro, reality starts to settle in. Cracks in the armor, so to speak. Some small speck of humanity left in Prometheus trying to wake him up from his savage fever dream. Prometheus reestablishes his connection with Maestro, and all the noise comes rushing back. With such a great accomplishment, Prometheus is noticed by the current leadership of the Pantheon, the Xanadu Tower. If the path is the way of 1,000 steps, how to reach godhood, the Xanadu Tower is the top. The reason why this is so appealing to Prometheus, other than the way of 1,000 steps, and the path, which are, let's be honest, just so many words sold to the lesser Savage Marines to keep them in line, is not just a chance of godhood, but appealing to his old self, the self from Earth when he was a rock god. For a time back then, he was the center of attention, his 15 minutes of fame, and he felt like the center of the universe. Here was his chance to be so again. Remember when he was in the inner circle of Roman? Even Savage Marines get their time in the spotlight, especially ones who accomplish one of their objectives, which should have been impossible by themselves, and not get game over. Prometheus' reward was a night in Sin City, uplifted version of Vegas, but without waking up the next day with a hangover. He goes to a club and orders a burger, which in order to be able to order it, the waiter had to ask Lucifer, one of the most powerful of all the powerful on board the colony ship Pantheon. Again, this does two things for him. One, he gains Lucifer's attention, but also it brings back memories from his animal past. In order to upgrade and rise above himself, even more than before, Prometheus has to face the greatest challenge of his life. Prometheus is given a mission by Lucifer, one mission above all the rest. The successful completion of this mission will give him answers he's been seeking for so long, and it will also change him forever. Prometheus is tasked with disconnecting from Maestro and going inside the Pantheon colony ship itself, fighting through any resistance to meet Commander Zero. But this time it is with no chance of an upload backup in case he fails. Prometheus is putting it all on the line. Now his true mettle will be tested. Deck 66 is his goal. Some long-lost deck long ago from some memory he may or may not have had about a rebellion that may or may not have happened on board the colony ship Pantheon. Memories are so fleeting. With Maestro constantly editing out memories and rewriting history, who knew what was true anymore? The only constant memories that never seem to change for Prometheus are the ones that concern his time on Earth and the arcade. Finally, in Deck 66, Prometheus discovers what Lucifer is up to. The Eternals is an elite fighting force, stronger, faster, better than all the Savage Marine regulars. He offers Prometheus the chance to become an Eternal and join Commander Zero in their war against the animals. No longer is Prometheus on the front lines trading fire in the trenches. Now he will be conducting raids behind the lines, appearing where the enemy least expects it. After successfully passing the test, Prometheus becomes an Eternal. Eternals do not have their average Savage Marine body that is mechanical and are all metal. Eternals are more cyborg, more fleshy. It is a gift to return to the flesh of the animals. Because with this gift comes the return of feeling, being able to feel your body parts as part of you and not just another metal extremity. Prometheus, in his new eternal form, participates in the battle for Spolurza, which is really a feint. The Grand Uplifted Alliance is attacking Hispania, but that is also a feint. The true plan, known only to the Eternals, is, as soon as they get the coalition to commit to battle in Hispania, the rest of the Savage attack force would all descend upon Spolurza. However, Prometheus and the other Eternals he is with are actually attempting to take the Spolursan ice station Hades, with the goal to upload the Unity virus. This is planned to not only affect the animals, but it will also affect the other savage tribes in the Grand Uplifted Alliance, and eventually bring them all under control of the Pantheon. The secret mission to take Ice Station Hades was agreed upon, compromised by the Uplifted that were in the Grand Uplifted Alliance. The issue was that after humanity spread out among the stars, they also started having children. For generations, the Uplifted did not multiply. Why have so many children when you yourself can live forever? So each and every loss of an Uplifted was felt throughout all the Uplifted tribes. The attack on Ice Station Hades is led by Commander Zero. The underwater passage is pretty long and they lose several Eternals, but wound up around 80% strength when they begin their assault. Depth charges wipe out another 50 Eternals. The assault is split up into several teams. At this point, there are only 164 Eternals left of the assault. Prometheus volunteers to be a distraction while the other teams accomplish their objectives. He constantly battles incoming waves of Splurers and Defenders. They even attempt to flood the decks he is on to slow or stop him. The humans had decided instead of blowing up the reactor as a last resort and losing all that data that had taken generations to acquire, they would try to defeat the attackers. After successfully defending the ice station against the animal counterattack, Prometheus is one of only a few surviving Eternals left, and barely at that. He is shot to pieces and slowly losing consciousness when Maestro and the uplifted reinforcements arrive. They notify Prometheus that his mission was successful and the Unity virus is on the animal servers. Then Prometheus is allowed to rest before the next battle, which turns out to be the most significant battle of them all in the Savage Wars. The Savages had chosen New Vega for their homeworld, and that's where they were going to stay. If Tyrus Rex is able to get on the planet and activate a trigger nuke, he can wipe out all life on the planet, savage or otherwise, and send a message to the Savages that humanity was not defeated yet. The human Tyrus Rex plan was genius. He had figured out the most important thing to the Pantheon tribe of Uplifted, of the Savages, food, their calorie storage. Their long journey across the stars, facing starvation and crop failure and all the rest, caused them to highly prize their calories above all else. So if he could hit their food storage, deactivate it, or destabilize it enough, they would all rush to defend it, while he went to the trigger nuke and activated it. Prometheus is woken up by Lucifer. He is given a mission, but something feels off, feels wrong. The situation is rapidly explained to him about defending the calories and fighting off the humans' attack, but everyone seems on edge. Everything isn't fitting together. Maestro is supposed to be guiding everyone to godhood, and the ones supposedly that already made it seem not to be very godlike. Prometheus is given a mission to go on a side route around the trenches the Legionnaires are defending and flank them. At some point during his assault, Prometheus again loses his connection with Maestro and the rest of the Pantheon, but this time he doesn't reestablish his connection, so he freezes all movement. He was so confident with his constant connection with Maestro, knew what to do next always had the next mission or goal on his internal heads-up display. Without Maestro, he's lost, and everything is silent again. Abandoned by Maestro and the top leadership of the Pantheon, Prometheus stops moving and tries to figure out what is going on instead of pressing the attack. The building Prometheus is in is already weakened from the battle, and finally tons of rock from the ceiling cave in on him. His fate is unknown. I will do another video on player Prometheus when he appears again in Galaxy's Edge.